because he was doing it both in Argentina and today. What we found in the course of 4 years coming forward is there's a thing called the Ninth Circle. It's a sacrificial cult that operates with Catholic Church sanction. It has for actually over 2 centuries, according to some Vatican documents that have been given to the court. And this rituals, they operate all through Europe and North America with a lot of police and army protection. We have now links as well to Ireland. The Garda and the Irish police informed us the 800 babies' bodies that you mentioned were actually signs of decapitation and dismemberment, which are classic satanic, sacrificial symptoms. And so, it's all beginning to come together into a global network that's involving, once again, these people fairly high up in the Vatican and the Crown of England.
Well, this is just amazing. And again, today we got short on time. I don't want to shortchange you. I want to reschedule a full hour with you, and you can send us all the exhibits, and I can properly get briefed on all the latest stuff that's happened to do justice to this. It's just that so many times, I remember what you were saying, 8, 9 years ago, and then a lot of it came out in the newspapers, and it just gets worse and worse, and you're now saying via your lawsuits and things, you've gotten documents from where? I've never heard of a secret society called the Ninth Circle. I know there's Dante's Inferno, and the Ninth Circle of Hell. But I mean, that is just, I know there's a lot of cults within organizations. Tell us about the Ninth Circle.
Well, these are referred to not only by witnesses who are participants and, people who have been raised in the cult, but also a document released in the last month to the court. This was from a Vatican insider. The document was in Latin, and it was in the secret archives, the same archives that contained the policy called Crimen Solicitanis, which requires priests to cover up child rape. It was in the same archive, and it makes reference to this Ninth Circle going as far back as the 1700s, and definitely tied in to various popes at that time. Now, these have been confirmed by fairly top-level sources within the church who have come forward now because there's a factional struggle breaking out within the Vatican. You've noticed that the present Pope has canceled 3 speaking engagements and has talked about health concerns. He's probably being forced out as well because Ratzinger is very much still holding the reins of power there, according to these Roman sources. So it's all connected to that. And like any secret society, these things are very well hidden. But the point is insiders are now beginning to speak. And just as in the case that where we proved genocide in Canada, that's now beginning to happen, on a more global level now.
And again, the reason for my research that Satanism keeps popping up in orphanages of every stripe around the world is, where do you think Satanist pedophiles, sickos are going to go? They're going to go where they have institutional protection to engage in these crimes. They start the crimes slow, get the local constabulary to be part of the cover-up. Once they're compromised, it goes full eyes wide shut. And I mean, look at what's come out with Savelle in England and the Royals. And I remember when you were on, correct my memory, but 2007, 2008, you were bringing up the fact the British royalty, you believe, was tied into this and did make visits to some of these mass grave areas?
We had an eyewitness who saw Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip take 10 children from the Kamloops Indian School in British Columbia in 1964. And these 10 children were never seen again. William Coombs was his name. He was to come to London to testify, but then he died very suddenly in a hospital after apparently receiving a lethal injection. That was in February 2011. But, this is ongoing. We've had 6 people within our network killed in this manner, Aboriginal people, because they started naming the names of these, very high-up people who come to these places for kids.
Well, I mean, expanding on this, some of this has come out in the Canadian papers, and the mass graves have been dug up at these orphanages, and then they just keep finding more. I mean, that's been in the news. But when you look at all this, what do you think of hundreds of thousands of undocumented kids? They won't let congressmen into the facilities, and they're being disappeared on buses. I mean, that's illegal under all the child laws anyways, and a lot of them, they admit, have been mules. From your deep research into this, what do you think? I mean, does it concern you that hundreds of thousands of kids are disappearing into bizarre secret federal networks?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, it's the more and more what we do now that we have these common law courts established, we're adjudicating these matters. you can't rely on any aspect of the system because child trafficking is enormous. It operates in every institution, especially in the so-called child welfare system, as you were mentioning earlier. And so you have to set up a parallel way to investigate and to bring these things to courts that are not controlled by the cabal, which all of these clearly are. I mean, it's been my experience over 20 years now that any aspect of the system you try to work through, you compromise your research because it's immediately shut down. We've had that experience time again in Canada.
Well, all I know is, I mean, if you look at the British papers, this is all coming out there. Satanism, killing children, raping them, secret rooms. And one article said 40 members of parliament last week I saw have been implicated, but the police can't get them because it'll bring the whole government down because they're obviously involved. You know what I want to do? I want to apologize that I got you on late in your Skype's pad. I want to have Nico set you up this week or next week for a full hour, but I want you to send us all the exhibits like we did 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I want to put all those on for people so we can really document this because this is some pretty sensational stuff, and I want to document it for everybody. ITCCS.org. We'll be back.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
We the people grow cotton, weave fabric, engrave ink, embed strips and fibers to protect from counterfeit and carting to a private bank, having it lent back at interest, forcing taxes to service debt. This capitalism, or was Jefferson correct when stating a central bank issuing the public currency is a greater menace to the liberties of the people than a standing army? Ted Anderson, I'm placing a free silver dollar in a book that explains our monetary system. Call for your copy, 800-686-2237. It's time to understand the system. Call 800-686-2237. That's 800-686-2237.
Alex Jones here for Infowars.com. In the month of July, we have got giant specials on everything at MadeIn1776.com. The already discounted Made in 1776 t-shirts are only $17.76. We have the new belt buckles that in only 2 weeks of sale are very close to selling out. There's only 500 of each. We're talking about Made in America belt buckles in nickeled brass. This is more than a summer blowout special. This is a new declaration of independence. But to expand the InfoWar, we're offering the equivalent of more than 5 months free right now when you get a membership at prisonplanet.tv for a limited time, only $39.95 a year. That's more than 5 months free off the regular price. Not just this July 4th weekend, but the entire month of July at MadeIn1776.com. Molon Labe, you can take my gun from my cold, dead hands.
Time and time again.
You need to come here and help us. We need assistance, please.
Those we should be able to depend on let us down.
Federal and state and local officials saying help is on the way. Well, the folks here in Bell Harbor say, show me.
Don't depend on the government to save you. Take action now so that you're prepared for the next disaster with MyPatriotSupply.com. Get the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more at MyPatriotSupply.com. Call 866-229-0927.
We are hurting down here, and we need help immediately.
Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
The rusted chains of prison moons are shattered by the sun. I walk a road, horizons change, the tournament's begun.
I've learned one thing. bottom of this global conspiracy is Satan. Only way to describe it. An anti-innocence, anti-child, anti-beauty. And he is the god of this world. And is very seductive. And those that are seduced by the dark side just become more and more twisted until nothing will satiate them but hurting the innocent. And they are our enemy.
The keeper of the city keys put shutters on the dream.
This hour is brought to you by MyPatriotSupply.com. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex to find their big specials and deals and to support our broadcast. They have a lot of other great preparedness items, water filtration, high-quality seeds, you name it. And that's why you'll notice we sell the same brands as they do. It's about the same price because they're just so good. We only carry the best stuff as well. But that's where I get my storable food, MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex, or we also sell their food for the same price, discounted at InfoWarsStore.com. So we're also a distributor for MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex or 866-229-0927. With all the things going on, you're insane, in my view, if you don't have high-quality storable food. And if you can put in a late summer garden, fall gardens, we have the best non-GMO spectrum of seeds available at InfoWarsStore.com and the InfoWars Seed Center. And all of your purchases support the broadcast and what we're doing here. So I want to thank all of you. We have a bunch of discounts going on the Made in America belt buckles, Molon Labe t-shirts, belt buckles, and more at InfoWarsStore.com in the MadeIn1776.com subsection. So again, go to MadeIn1776.com. That'll take you right to the subsection with the Made in America apparel and belt buckles for men and women and more. Or just go to InfoWarsStore.com to find the whole shop. And we fund ourselves the old-fashioned way. We don't get taxpayer money. We're just funded by high-quality products that you decide to purchase. I want to thank you all. Briefly here in closing, before I do a bit of overdrive and hit some other news, I want to thank all of our AM and FM affiliates. Keep spreading the word about those. Remember, truth is stranger than fiction. Please pray for this broadcast. Pray for peace and enlightenment and awakening. And also tell your friends and family about the transmission and support those local radio sponsors. And lastly, I forgot to take it this morning. I'm going to take a double dose of the new Super X2 Survival Nascent Iodine, the only deep earth crystal source out there, the purest iodine out there, period, ladies and gentlemen. And it's available at InfoWarsLife.com. And quite frankly, it has been completely life-changing for me. Just regular iodine did a lot of amazing things. So I started researching it and found the best out there. We then went to the next level from our regular survival shield that's still available and great for kids. It's not as strong. Consult your healthcare provider before using it. This stuff, this pure crystals, go check out the science, the videos, all the information, InfoWarsLife.com. We have the super male vitality, the super female vitality. You notice each batch you get tastes a little different. This is cold pressed super herbs, concentrated. And so it's like vintages. We've got a little bit of the lung cleanse left and the silver bullet left. That's both about to sell out for a while, maybe months till we get more. Because the highest quality we use is hard to keep in. Try it. You'll be funding the Operation Bare Minimum. And then I believe you'll be hooked because it's so good. Survival Shield X2, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Stay with us. Got some other news coming up in Overdrive. I'm Alex Jones. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.